Hey everyone, I'm Rachel. In this tutorial, I'll show you how to create patterned fabric using the Color Therapy app. This might look complicated, but it's actually so easy and looks great on all kinds of patterned fabrics. Find this image by searching for fabric. Alright, so the first thing you want to do is tap to fill in the fabric with a gradient. So under the basic palette, I set that to gradient and I'm using the third color from the right on the top row. I'm going to set it so it's darker in the middle and just tapping to fill in the fabric. And then the third color from the right on the bottom row of that same palette. And I'm going to set it so that it's a linear gradient so that it's lighter on the left side. And I'm going to tap to fill in the pattern. Now, you can totally experiment with your gradients and your patterns. So you can switch them up, you can make them the same, however you want to do. So also with your light source in mind, if it's coming from the top or left or right, you might want to have it lighter on one of those sides as well. So you want to keep that in mind too. So my goal is really to make this look luminous and silky. So that's why the gradient really helps a lot with that. So now we want to add in our highlights and shadows and make it come to life. Starting off with the airbrush tool, I'm setting the size at 45 and opacity at 35. Over in the red palette, select solid and then choose the third color on the top row, dark red. Now with coloring inside the lines mode set to on, we're going to be shading all around the edges of each section, okay? And you also want to shade where the suggested lines and shading already are. So shading the whole thing, each section, the outside edges, and all of the template shaded areas. Now lower the size to 20. Move over now to the second red on the top row. Now we're going to turn coloring inside the lines mode to off. We're going to do the same thing. So we're shading in those exact same areas. Just another layer now. And now we're kind of shading the actual, the pattern itself. So it's already starting to get some dimension and come to life. Really easy. And then lower the size all the way down to 2%. You can add even more detailed shadows. So I'm just really following in those lines. And you can turn coloring inside the lines mode on or off, just depending on what you're trying to achieve. So just making more fine line shadows, following the template lines. So you want to turn coloring inside the lines mode to on if you're shading the section edges that are touching each other. Now let's raise the opacity to 60 and then select the darkest color in the red palette. And what you're going to do is just color in the darkest shadows and folds. So you'll need to turn coloring inside the lines mode to on to really get those deep dark shadows in the folds. And then some areas you might need to turn coloring inside the lines mode to off so that you can shade the pattern. But these are going to be your darkest detail shadows. And then in the red palette, choose the first color on the second row. And let's do size 14 and opacity 50. With coloring inside the lines mode to off, you're going to add in all your highlights. And all you have to do is just add them into the middle of the folds between the shadows. And you can also lower your stroke opacity just to see how it's looking. So it's as simple as that to get that nice silky patterned look. If you'd like to see more tutorials like this, don't forget to subscribe to the Color Therapy YouTube channel so you don't miss any new tutorial videos. Thanks for watching our tutorial. You can get the Color Therapy app for free on the App Store.